have dug their own grave. And the education industry is up next for this kind of transformation. The internet has basically broken their business model, because now any guy with a fast internet connection and a server can host an online university. I mean, we're doing it ourselves. And you know, any group of a couple of guys with a spare bedroom or a garage could set up a little office and open an online university. So the universities have millions of dollars invested in these huge campuses, and all these professors and tenured what is it called? Tenured professorships or whatever. You know, all the big fundraising endowments and all this facilities and all this stuff, you know, classrooms and all. And actually it's completely unnecessary. Because, and this goes back to John Taylor Gatto, his philosophy of education, that we have confused education with schooling. Because the powers that be, the big money people, they want nicely trained workers. So they basically designed the educational system, the state-mandated educational system, to produce submissive workers. People who would do what they're told without questioning, without thinking for themselves, who don't have much curiosity, and then who are also in a dependent financial position and they're forced to work so that they can eat. So here we have now a society, America is supposed to be the richest society on earth. But you know, I don't think a person is rich if they're two paychecks from bankruptcy, which is the average American, even the average homeowner, is like 2 paychecks from being out on the street. That's not wealth. That's poverty. That's slavery. They have to work to pay back all these loans and all this stuff. It's a nutty situation. So the universities and the exploitive economic system have grown up together. They're inseparable. The universities churn out graduates who are well trained to go into a corporation and sit in a cubicle and just spend their whole lives working in that situation. They don't produce people who are entrepreneurial. They don't produce people who have leadership qualities. They deliberately do not teach those skills. If you go to the elite universities where the rich people send their kids, those schools teach certain things. They teach public speaking. They teach effective writing and communication. And they teach some athletic well, in our case, it's going to be artistic practice. But they teach some physical art, some physical discipline that gives a person a physical presence. See? These things are always taught in high-level universities, and there are other things too, but those are the principal things, especially negotiation and people management and like this. These are all taught by these elite schools. Now, if a person's really intelligent, of course, they can learn all these things themselves. But most people don't even guess that these things are important, or they don't see the connection, because they've been trained up in this totally artificial environment, and they don't see it. They don't have the intelligence. So basically, the university system is simply an extension of the elementary and secondary school system that creates supposedly, you know, mid-level managers and like that. But in the West, especially, the middle class is going away. The powers that be don't want to have a middle class anymore. They want to have the rich and the poor. So the middle class is under increasing pressure, and that means that the university's game is over. They don't have a market anymore. If nobody's going to hire the people that they train, well, what's the use of going to university? And a lot of people have realized this. A lot of people now just simply teach themselves whatever they want to learn. I did. I never, like I said, I never went to university one day for writing. I never took one course in writing in my whole life. I just read Srila Prabhupada's books. And from that, I learned how to express myself. Because Srila Prabhupada uses words like precision instruments. He's a wonderful writer. So if you can learn from an expert, why do you need to go to school and get a certificate? The way I broke into the writing field, the technical writing field, was by showing that I could do it. I had a job doing something else, programming and designing test systems and stuff. And then one day somebody had to write a specification or design. So I wrote this whole document, and nobody else could even begin to write it. So I just sat down and wrote it over a weekend or something like that. And my boss took a look at it and he went, "Wow, man, you're in the wrong job. I got a friend over here that needs technical writers real bad. Why don't you go work for him and earn 3 times as much as you're making for me?" I said, that sounds like a concept I could get into. That's how it all started. So if you really want to know how to learn, you have to go beyond what you were trained in school and discover a few secrets. And these are secrets that basically nobody is interested in telling you. And the first one is, if you really want to be educated, you have to learn how to learn. Don't learn the way other people taught you how to learn. You have to find out how to learn by yourself. And the other thing is, you have to learn to think for yourself and figure out the meaning of what you learn and the value of what you learn. And nobody can teach you how to think for yourself. That's something you have to figure out for yourself. But you should know that this is one of the most valuable things that you can learn, is how to think for yourself. How to think through something so that you understand the reasoning behind it and how it all works. I mean, this is a very valuable skill. And I encourage all my students to learn these skills. In fact, I pound it into them. So by being in this kind of environment, you learn how to take independent action, how to arrive at a decision, and then implement that decision in your own life. And that's what you have to do if you're going to become successful in spiritual life. So anyway, the universities have no interest in teaching any of this stuff. They just want to charge a lot of money for you to come in and sit in the classroom and listen to a boring lecture by some junior professor who has no interest in what he's teaching. He just wants to get it published and get tenure, and then he can be like his boss who teaches one class a year in some obscure subject that happens to be his specialty, and then the rest of the time he just, sits around. Yeah. So this is the environment in the school. Now, this is not a very competitive situation. This is a very, very mature market, to use a technical term. A mature market means actually a stagnant profession. And what usually happens, it's like the dinosaurs and the mammals. The dinosaurs are big and bulky and slow, and the little furry mammals come along, and they can out-compete and out-evolve and out-adapt and just take over. So that's what's happening, well, in all fields where any progress is going on at all nowadays. You see the little startups developing all the new technology, and the big companies just wait until they prove themselves, and then they snap them up. They don't develop the technology in-house. They don't maintain labs like Bell Labs, or maybe a few big companies do, Microsoft and a few others. But mostly they wait until somebody develops something that threatens their market position, and then they just buy them. It's a weird way to do business, but that's what's going on. Now what's happening is that the universities are being threatened by small, independent online schools. And at this point, I realized, that's us. So we should not become part of or contractors for or a helper to established universities, because they're actually supporting the whole dead society of materialism and all this phony knowledge. What we should do is become their competitors. Boing, the light went on. Because we can sit somewhere in any obscure place that has a good internet connection, and you know, have just this little house out in the country somewhere and pay